Is Flock worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome everyone to episode 221 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, what the flock are you talking about?
Whoa. Can't use that kind of colorful language, those 5-letter words.
Yes. Well, I used it, and we're going to be talking about it as we're going to be talking about Flock, developed by Hollow Ponds and Richard Hogg.
Sure.
Just one guy. Why not? This game came out multi-platform in July of 2024 on the PC, Xbox, all of them, PS4, and PS5.
Everything's an Xbox, Chris.
You're right. Everything is an Xbox. So I should just say for the Xbox, and that would count everything. So there you go. Thank you, Microsoft. I did play this on the PC, though. 2.63 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
Slightly smaller on the Series S, 2.41 gigabytes.
Oh, not bad. Not bad. You made to cram those Flock into a smaller disk space. Good on them for that. Now, what kind of game is it?
I put third-person adventure.
Oh, very generic. Why not? Well, it is, in a way. I put third-person flying creature observer collector.
That's very specific and also very vague.
Yeah, because, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what happened. And, well, I guess we'll talk about what happened with our game loop in that hour. What'd you get?
I have soar through the world riding a bird to locate and identify creatures and then charm them.
Oh, I see the double usage there because that's part of the mechanic there. Yes, I wrote down fly around and observe new creatures. I did not write a charm them because I totally forgot about that. But yes, I mean, that's part of the flocking part.
That's how you build the flock, Chris.
Yeah, but all right. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, shall we? What did we like about this game, Tom?
I liked that I wasn't stuck in character creation for an hour. I had to make my own character, but it was simple, it was effective, and I was off to the races. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, there were minimal options.
Mm-hmm.
Face, attire, and your bird. You can color your bird in different ways or whatever. Or you can just hit the randomize button, which I ended up doing by accident because I forgot to put I did take a little bit of time to make my character, and then I hit the randomize button instead of, and I was like, forget it. All right, let's go. Let's just move it on. Let's move on. And yeah, but I agree. That was it. It was very, very low stakes. It was not like Baldur's Gate 3 or Dragon's Dogma or even Monster Hunter at this point. It's just ridiculous character creations over there.
And you can later change everything.
That's true. You can. It is.
You're not stuck.
Absolutely. And I mean, look, if this game was a gamification of lo-fi, I feel like that would be this game, because it's just a very chill game. It's just like very bright colors, very just kind of airy, ethereal music happening. You hear like creatures kind of chirping, barking, squeaking at you. And that was it. Like, you're just kind of just vibing. It is. And like you said, you're soaring through the air. You're just kind of just there, just observing things. It's just very chill. It's just such a serene like experience, I gotta say, overall.
Yeah, it's definitely got like flower vibes to it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, it was just very easy to pick up and play. You know, you control your camera, and you control not even your, I guess, what's it called, pitch and yaw at that point, or is that you're just kind of moving side to side, and like your bird manages going up and down.
Yes, essentially.
So, but it is just that, and there's a little bit of a story where you're kind of helping your aunt. Is it your aunt and uncle? Is it okay? It is your aunt and uncle. Your aunt is the, I guess, scientistish.
Yeah, like a zoologist.
Zoologist, thank you. And she needs help with discovering new creatures. Yes. And then you got your uncle who likes to tend sheep, and you got to help him with that too, some way, shape, or form.
I think and since I'm going to use it as a segue. I think it's a pretty funny game, and it's not like overly so, but like you find a sheep, and the zoologist is like, that's not a creature, that's just a sheep. And the uncle's like, hey, just a sheep. Sheep are a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you found a sheep is added to your like creature roster.
Right.
But, in its own category. Sheep. Yeah. There's only one entry there.
Right. Absolutely. And I guess we could talk about that, the mechanic of discovering creatures, because you do fly around like we mentioned, because that is the only that you can't get off your bird, but you just fly around and you listen to the sounds of these creatures, and then you find them, and then you got to hit a button when you're around them to observe them if they're a new creature, right? And then you kind of like, you can take a moment to observe them in their kind of natural habitat, like like a National Geographic or Planet Earth kind of documentary, and then I thought this was kind of interesting. You're almost kind of give it like a quiz.
Yeah.
Right. It's like they pull out your book.
Yeah. A creature guide.
Your creature guide. And then it's like, okay. And then your zoologist is like, okay, well, it's kind of like one of these things, or it could be one of these things, but which one do you think it is? And then like you have options, and based on your observation, you get the answer right or wrong. And it doesn't really demote you or something. If you get it wrong, you're like, no, that wasn't the right answer. And then you try it again. Like it's just like a very chill game. It's like, okay, no, try again. Look at this thing properly. And and that's it. Like that's how you figure out what kind of creature it is. And then you get a little badge in your creature guide of that new creature. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I liked that filling out the creature guide kind of requires some thought. Now, you could, I guess, just hammer on anything and eventually you'll figure, brute force it.
Right.
But I like the idea that it's, it gives you like little blurbs, and it says like, this, glebe is got a feathered belly, and this one is scared of other people. And so it's like, okay, well, is it a physical characteristic or is it a behavioral characteristic that I'm looking for? And you try to, and so I've got a couple of wrong, and or you narrow it down, right? 50-50. It's like, it's this one or this one, and I'm not really sure, so I'm going to pick one of them.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a fun little mechanic. And I think the other part of it that's really cool is just the variety in the creature sounds. Like they have to be unique enough that you can distinguish that, right? And I think they did a pretty good job of spatial audio, so how far you are, and like it's spatial, like directional audio and stuff like that, so you know how far you are. And there's a whole day-night cycle too, so certain animals only come out at night or are more alert at night, so you get those as well. And it's also kind of like pretty in its own way. Right? It's got a style to it. Right?
It's one of those games that I would say is evergreen in that they've selected a style, and so that's the style of this game, and it will be forever. And it won't like age out ungracefully because it's trying to be super realistic or something.
Exactly. Yeah. What else? Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I mentioned, flying was fun. Like it is just a simple thing. You've got these little like wind tunnels that you can burst through, and like you get a little gust of speed. There's like these little observation points that you can dock on, and then there's even like this little like cone of wind that you can fly up and then observe at a higher vantage point, which was nice too. Very helpful at times. And you've got your normal objectives and things like that, collecting things. And like you said, you do have to charm them so that you can add them to your flock, and you get that by getting these little whistles. The whistles that'll, and that's a different mechanic too, where it's like
the whistles go
I didn't
woo.
get that. Yeah, the whistles do go woo. Some of them do go woo. I didn't get that at first, and that's probably kind of like one of my dislikes, but I don't know if you want to talk about that charming mechanic.
I thought it was pretty cool. I think the tutorial just in general, I think, moved at a pretty good pace, at least to me.
Yeah.
Taught the mechanics mostly, but also a little bit of lore, as you're going through it. And yeah, I think that the charming charm mechanic is kind of cool. Like, you have to, get the whistle for that
creature.
Yeah, it's not just the creature; it's for all of the different like variants within that creature group.
Yeah,
I'm blanking on what the proper word for that is right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then having that, you have to engage a creature and then make yourself a certain distance from it, get into kind of the sweet spot, and then sing the song to the creature. And that fills up or eats away a gauge, which you need to have, a certain number of successful attempts. And if you do it, you fill up the gauge, the creature is charmed and it joins your flock.
Yeah, you get the flock. And as you have those creatures in your flock, they also help you with charming other creatures because they send their little hearts at them, which kind of gives you a little boost. I mean, kind of talking about my dislikes here. I was a little confused about that charm mechanic because of I didn't realize that the distance was part of it. And then I saw you made that little, you had the parentheses.
Yeah.
You had, and I realized, it didn't necessarily have to be I had to be right in front of it. Like, I just had to be at that sweet spot.
Yeah.
And then use the song mechanic at that point. I was like, why am I saying only good? Where's my great? So I was trying to figure that out. But yeah, once I got it, it did make more sense at that point. I was like, okay, I got it. I figured it out. Cool. Anything else you want to talk about here, or shall we move on to our dislikes?
Last thing is that the game auto saves, and you can also manually save whenever you want.
Oh, yeah. Yay for Tom, as you can save at any point. Good for you. Good for you, Tom.
And it is that kind of casual game where, like, if you couldn't, I would have been,
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there are really stakes anywhere else, and then you're just going to not let me save the game when I want to? Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So let's get to our dislikes then, which I kind of already hinted at was the fact that I didn't really quite understand that charm mechanic. But once I got it, It was just like, I didn't feel like the tutorial explained it properly enough for me. So I was kind of like, meh, that's annoying. But I'll let you.
Well, it's funny because I didn't mention it in Wargroove 2, but I did write it down here, which is that the voice acting is limited to the oh and ah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, that's all you've got voice acting wise. And there's a lot of text.
Yes.
And so I spent a lot of time reading here, just like in Wargroove 2. But unlike in Wargroove 2, where I felt like all of the dialogue was like relevant and moving the game forward. Sure. Here, I saw a lot of the same dialogue kind of like on repeat. So like there's not a lot of creatures to identify here. I don't know how many times I saw that, but I guess every time I identified a creature, it said the same thing again. And I was like, okay, I got it the first time.
Yeah. It's a shame. I did want to point out the fact that, once you do unlock, I guess the interesting part is you start off, the map is very small.
Yes.
And as you start to discover new creatures, the map or like the world starts to dissipate, and you essentially the fog of war starts to dissipate, and you get more and more of the world is revealed, which I thought was kind of cool. But I think this is where I felt like I started to see the struggles with the camera. Because for the most part, like I mentioned, the game controls your up and down movements. The bird goes up and down. But there are moments like later on in the game where I was trying to go after a creature.
Yep.
And it flew past me and I couldn't turn around quick enough.
Oh.
And then I lost it completely. And I was like, wait, what the heck happened? Like, it was just I don't know. It was just weird. And then and because the camera was so zoomed in, because my bird was so close to the ground at that point, it was really hard for me to just kind of reorient myself. I don't know. It was just very confusing, especially in the wooded areas and stuff like that. where it like tried to zoom in really high, like really close to your, which makes sense, obviously, but like I just wish I had a little bit more control of the camera at that point. That's just like something I thought was a really annoying.
I did not like that you can't control the height of the bird. Like I think early on it's helpful in that it's less to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But during those chase sequences, I'm like, no, I want to go down and into that tunnel, and the bird didn't do it, and I'm like, okay, but like the thing I'm trying to chase just went through there, so can you maybe follow the thing? Like
I was able to do it once. And then like never again. Like during that one particular chase. And I was like, what's going on? And I thought that was very confusing because throughout most of the other playthrough of the game, you're able to use those tunnels with no problem. So yeah, it was very confusing why it wouldn't let you do that. And yeah, like while the game is like pretty and it's like it has its style and stuff like that, I don't know if you felt this, but I felt like the creatures started to look the same.
Yeah.
And that made me struggle a bit when I was trying to identify creatures. Because there was like a lot of times where I think they ask you what like group it's a part of.
Yes.
Right. So they ask you what group it is. And I'm like, oh, it's got to be this. And like, nope, it's not this. It's this other one. I'm like, wait, but that doesn't look like that at all. And it's like, it looked more like this other thing. And then like when they shave, when you eventually you grab a sheep for yourself, which we kind of talk about, and then you drop it into these meadows, and in these meadows are these creatures that stole items from your aunt and uncle. And with that, once you like clean that up or whatever, like your sheep its wool starts to grow high, like get really thick, and then you're supposed to shear it. When you shear it, it looks like one of the other creatures.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck? So I don't know. It was weird. It was like a lot of samesies and like, I don't know, because of the style, it may be too stylized so that it makes things a little bit more difficult to distinguish.
Everything does kind of look like a balloon or a sausage.
Right. It's true. And I don't know. Like it's just maybe because they were like, quick, we need some creatures. Squiggle, God, done.
Yeah, it's like, oh, these are the eel creatures and these are the worm creatures. And I'm like, that's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Come on, guys. I don't know. They don't have the Pokemon guys working on it or something. Well, whatever. Who else other than the Pokemon guys are working on Pokemon things? I don't know. But yeah, what else you got here for dislikes here?
So there's no consequences for failing. So, okay, they give you a little quiz, but you can just brute force it. Like you could just say A, B, C, and then eventually the game is just like it's F. It's F. It's like don't even stop guessing. And so I'm like, okay,
they're just like, give me that. I'll do it for you. I agree. I think there was later on in my gameplay or playthrough, I didn't realize you have a phone. And then they start like the characters that you meet. So your aunt and uncle, and then eventually there's this other merchant.
Yeah.
They call you. I picked up my aunt and uncle, and then I didn't pick up the merchant's phone call. So I ignored it, and I was like, "Can I actually ignore it?" And you can. And then I went to go see her just to see if like she would maybe be like, "Hey, what the heck? Like you didn't pick up my phone," or like whatever her message would be part of that interaction. But
sure,
it was totally different. It was not there at all.
Oh.
So I mean, again, I'm kind of nitpicking here, but it is kind of like one of those things where those little finishing touches would be really. Nice,
so it kind of assumes that you read or listened to the message, basically.
Right. Like it's totally separate interaction. Like they didn't even. I didn't just ghost them or something. Oh well, I don't know. It is interesting, and like while the flying is cool, like as I was playing this game, I was just thinking more and more how awesome it would have been if they had the Batman Arkham City, Arkham Knight like cape mechanic. I don't know. Have you played that game?
No.
Oh man, it felt so good. Like when you were out in the city and you let out your wings and you jump off of a building. Like you could do something where you can fold the wings down so you kind of dive bomb, and then you lift the wings up, and then you get that, you catch that wind. So you kind of do this kind of dance, so to speak.
Okay.
So you can just keep kind of flying. So I thought like that would be so cool if they did that here. Because it's like, it's kind of there, right? You have the tunnels and like you pick up speed, but then I feel like you just get to hit a wall. You hit a wall with speed and then like, that's it. Like you're just kind of like there. I don't know.
No, it really would make a big, like, I understand from a simplicity standpoint why you know, not to give the player control of that, so that, right, you've got 3 directions you could move in a 3D space, but you only have the means to control 2 of those, you know, on an analog stick. So the game is like, well, we'll manage the third dimension for you. Don't worry about it. And it's like, no, like I'd like to manage it. Thanks. Like, it's kind of important to what I'm trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if you did this. I did try to play this online. So I joined a public game. My first time, I got disconnected immediately. Second time, I did get to play a little bit, and it was cool. The other part, I mean, I would probably say this is a like. I don't know why I put in my dislikes here, but it was cool seeing the other like people flying around in the game. It was fun to see that. And then I got disconnected. And again, another kind of like is I like that the progress was saved, and I can do that in my normal campaign or like the solo campaign.
Okay.
So it's very helpful. It's very nice that your progression does not get lost. It's not a separate thing. So kudos to them for that. I know we're in our dislike section, but I totally forgot about that. I just want to mention that because that is very nice to have there.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Because a lot of the games where you have online components, it's like the online stuff is being tracked separately from the offline single player stuff. So
right. So
that's pretty cool.
Any other dislikes here, Tom? Or
well, there was a point at which my aunt gave me a creature to tame, like chase down this creature and tame it. And I was like, okay, but I didn't have the whistle for that creature yet.
Oh.
So like I caught it, I got up to it, and then it's like you can't actually tame that creature. And so I don't know if I like skipped ahead somehow or what, but don't give me a quest that I can't actually do. That's silly.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it seems like part 1 is to get the whistle or whatever it is to tame it. Like, and then I don't know. I guess there's too much freedom there that they forgot about that.
I just would think that when you're programming, right, you would like don't assign this quest until you have this item.
Right. But you know,
that's what happens when you're a computer scientist. You see these things, and you're like,
come on. Oh well. It is what it is.
101, guys. You have one job, single developer.
Exactly. All right. Now are we ready for other thoughts?
I am.
So How Long to Beat says this game takes about 4 to 6 hours to complete. Very short game. And like I mentioned, I did play this in online mode, but you can play up to 4 people online. Pretty cool. Four chaps flying and collecting animals or creatures of sausage and balloon types.
Yes.
Cool. This does also have cross-platform multiplayer. So that's, good on them. Xbox Play Anywhere and xCloud capable as well. So all that good stuff is there for you and your friends.
Thorough.
Very thorough. I will give them that. That's kudos to them on that. What you got there, Tom?
Speaking of thorough or perhaps not being thorough, it's surprisingly hard to find information on this game.
Okay.
Normally, I can go on Wikipedia, I can go on to, the various websites and things. As of the time of this recording, if you go on Wikipedia, it actually just brings you round and around in circles. Like clicking on Flock brings you to Annapurna's thing, which just talks about Flock, but it's just a circle. And then on Steam, there's nothing outside of kind of like the basic pitch of the marketing mumbo jumbo of it, which I mean, I guess I get.
There's not even a website for this game.
I wasn't able to find anything
weird,
like really helpful or interesting. I will say that I was able to find out that the developer also made Wilmot's Warehouse and Hohokum, which are two other like really cult indie games that I've never played.
Yeah, the name,
but I have
sounds familiar,
heard of them.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It does sound familiar, but very cool.
And I alluded to it in our previous episode, but there is another game called Flock with an exclamation point at the end, and that's what I thought we were going to play here, but it isn't that. That game is a game where you fly around with a UFO and suck up sheep, and I guess that game's been delisted or something. So, I don't know. Good luck finding that one.
Yeah. Well, both games have sheep too.
Weird, right?
Yeah. I mean, flock of sheep
flying around, picking things up, catching things.
Yeah. Well, now, Tom, we got to see if this game is going to be staying on our respective hard drives, or we are going to be not adding it to our flock.
Like Wargroove 2, my hour here went by really quickly. And I do think it was generally pretty fun to play in a very different sort of way, right? Yeah. This is much mellower, much less thought
not as stress
required. In this one. And I'm pretty confident that most of the mechanics were covered in this, in the hour that we played. So I think it's really just about opening up the rest of the world and looking for creatures from here on out. So I think I'd like to return and play some more and see how that goes. But I will say that I don't know. It's not as like, because maybe it's so mellow, it's not as like compelling to pick back up again.
Right.
It is a kind of a la-di-da time waster of a game.
Right.
Which maybe is what you want. Maybe it's not what you want.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I mean, this for me was like definitely something that, like you said, the hour went by very quickly. It just seems like a good time to just play with others. Like even when I was playing with the random people, it was just kind of cool, like seeing them doing their own thing, like with their creatures, like flying around with them and stuff. Like, it was just kind of cool. It seemed like also it could be kind of a fun game to play with my kids.
Yeah.
Because it is very like aimless in a way, but like, we still have our objectives, and like they do have that kind of, they do have the itch every once in a while to like play like a Pokemon style game or whatever, like capturing and charming things and stuff like that. So, it just like seems like a pretty cool game to just kind of chill out with. And
it's bright, colorful, right?
Yeah. I mean, it almost feels like it could also be a good like split screen game, but maybe not. I don't know. It could be a lot more challenging for sure with like the open world.
See less.
Like yeah. But I think I'd keep it. I'd just keep it just to see. It's not a very large game.
Yeah.
It's not Wargroove 2 size, but still not like a huge disk space investment. So I think I'll just keep it. If kids want to play it, check it out.
Dig it.
Yeah. So those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Blue Sky at 1H1D and on Twitter and Threads at TC1H1D. Shoot us an email at tc1h1d@gmail.com. Check out our streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe tell us what your favorite creature is. And why? Because I'd like to know why it's not one of the sausage-looking ones. I don't know. But 1H1D is part of the QTB network. And if you like any great gaming content, please check it all out at quitthebill.com/network. Now, Tom.
Yes, Chris.
We must see what we are playing next.
Is the only way to move forward.
Yes. Like a grasshopper, we must move forward. We can't jump backwards. All right. Surprise button. Here we go. Oh. Atomfall.
Okay.
That's the game we will be checking out on our next episode. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this one, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.